Hi there, everyone. Steve Wyss here, joined by Kevin Harper for the latest and final IPL cricket Allsportsbettingpod preview. And, we've had quite a lot of podcasts in this IPL, Kevin. We're finally at the end of them now. The final is between rising Pune Supergiant and Mumbai Indians. And both these two were the top two in the table. It's interesting to note that rising Pune actually beat Mumbai 3 times in this IPL. Yet it is Mumbai who line up as the 1.67 favourites with the bookies. Why do you think rising Pune have had success against Mumbai in this IPL, Kev? Or have they just simply caught them on 3 bad days?
I don't think you can catch any side on 3 bad days, can you? 1 perhaps, maybe 2 at a push, but not 3. I don't think there's a fluke in it, to be fair, Steve. I don't know why they've had the better of it, really. I keep on thinking it's just because, they're the lesser, the lower of the kind of side of this rivalry between the two. It's hard to call any sides in India local, but these two are as local as you're going to get to each other. So, from that point of view, they might enjoy being the kind of little side, not expected to do much, going under the radar, things like that. But perhaps the main reason why they've gone so well against them is because they've got players who are used to handling the pressure. They're used to playing in the very highest games at the very highest level. MS Dhoni's been there and done it. There isn't a match that he hasn't played in of any significance, both domestically and internationally. And you can say the same about Steve Smith. When he was around, Ben Stokes as well, he's played in the very biggest games. And even the likes of Imran Tahir, right the way through their side, really. Ajinkya Rahane. They're a very experienced side, and I'm guessing that that's something to do with it. Although you look down this Mumbai Indians lineup, and they've got plenty of internationals, they've also got 1 or 2 young players who've not yet tasted that, and maybe that's the difference. I don't know, really, to be fair, but there's clearly something in it. You don't dominate the same side 3 times by fluke, I don't think.
Well, it seems to me like the main reason is that, certainly the last 2 games, the Mumbai Indian batsmen just haven't really got away from rising Pune for whatever reason. They seem to have no problems batting against most teams, but they just seem to struggle against this RPS bowling attack, which has certainly improved a lot since the start of the competition, hasn't it, Kev? They've got 2 or 3 guys that are really in great form heading into the final.
Yeah, absolutely it has. I mean, it could only improve, couldn't it? It was no surprise that it did improve once Ashok Dindins got put on the sidelines. Anadkat was a real, not fined because he's an international cricketer, but he came in at the right time. 1 or 2 others did as well. The move Tripathi up the innings was a big thing for them as well, wasn't it? Although he's failed quite a few times recently, it certainly worked in the middle part of the season. And a couple of others have come into play. Washington Sandar has really come to the party recently, hasn't he? He was the one who tore the Mumbai Indians apart in the qualifier on Tuesday, and he's someone they're going to have to watch out for here. Yeah, they look a decent side to me now, Pune. That if you'd said this to me right back at the start when I flagged up all their problems, I just wouldn't have believed that it could have happened. But fair play to Stephen Fleming, fair play to Steve Smith and anyone else who was involved in the changes. They recognised what needed to happen. They've made it happen, and here they are in the final, and deservedly so. This is the last game of their existence, so they'll be mighty determined to go out with a win, I would think.
Yeah, they will no longer exist in next year's IPL as the Chennai Super Kings come back with the other teams at Rajasthan Royals, Kev. But anyway, in this particular final, they are 2.25 underdogs, and you're going to back them, aren't you?
I am, yeah. And Mumbai have got some weird trends that they've got to buck here, Steve. Obviously, there's the 3-0 deficit against Pune this season. And you have to go right the way back to the first IPL for the last time table-topping side won the competition, which is a pretty weird statistic. In fact, there's an awful lot of sides that finish second that win the competition. No idea why that is. But that happened both in this playoff scenario and in the previous one where it was just simply semi-finals and finals. So again, there must be something in that, really. One thing I like about these IPL playoffs is both sides are guaranteed to go to the final with a win in their last match, and that's good. You've got no kind of confidence issues or anything like that that sometimes you can get in certain playoff matches. So that's interesting. But for me, I just like Pune. I just think that they're a good all-round side at the minute. Their top six are all delivering. Okay, Tripathi, as I've just mentioned, he's kind of failed recently, but he's only there really for a bit of slap and tickle. And if he comes off, happy days, and if he doesn't, the rest of them will, they've got his back, sort of thing. So even that's not too much of a concern. But this bowling attack really, really has improved, and there's just no let-up in it now. In fairness, there isn't a let-up in the Mumbai Indians attack. We flagged that all the way through. But I just wonder what they're going to get out of that win over Kolkata, Steve. I don't think it's going to have done them any favours. First of all, they're going to have had to have travelled to Bangalore, played a game on Friday. Now they've got to make their way to Hyderabad, where this final is. Where this final begins, only just over 36 hours after they'll have finished showering, changing, media and all of that from the other night. So all of that's going to be rushed. Really and truly, okay, they bowled Kolkata out, but Kolkata just weren't at the races in that game. They were a shambles for the first 6 overs, and they were never recovering from that. But although they were only chasing, what were they chasing? 108, 110, something like that. They didn't exactly get there with any confidence to me, Mumbai. That you'd be pushing it to say they laboured to it, but they just showed very much similar size to Kolkata in their win over Sunrisers. They didn't give off any confidence, and I just wonder if this batting lineup's suddenly fallen out of form, and if it has, they really are going to struggle because, there is no weakness in this Pune side. I like Pune in this match. They've had 5 days to prepare for it, and that's a big advantage, I think. Not having to fly to Bangalore and then fly to Hyderabad, I think that's a big thing. Odds against, we know they can beat Mumbai. Do we know Mumbai can beat Pune? No, we don't. So I'm going to take the side that we know can win.
Yeah, that's your first tip for the match. Rising Pune Supergiant to win. Now, you just mentioned this final's in Hyderabad. What sort of wicket are you expecting here? What sort of ground is this place, Kel? Are we going to have a high-scoring match?
Well, you've got to think that we're going to have a decent wicket, that's for sure. This is the showpiece of the entire competition, isn't it? The last time we're going to be seeing IPL cricket for sort of 46 weeks or so. So they're going to want to go out with a bang. Hyderabad is not the smallest ground. It's not a Wankhede or a Chinnaswamy. And then again, it's not the biggest either. It's not a Mohali or somewhere like that. It's kind of in between. But I don't expect a high-scoring game, to answer your question, Steve. I think both bowling attacks are going to have the edge on the opposition. With Stokes not playing, there's just a light look to Pune's batting, so they're going to have to be a little bit more circumspect at the top of the innings. Whereas Mumbai may well be right the way through their innings if they have got this confidence issue that seemed to show up in Bangalore. It might just have been the pressure of the situation. We don't know. Maybe if they bat first in this game, they'll bat an awful lot better. Time will tell. But I don't see it being a high-scoring game. It's a final. It's just about winning the game. And there isn't really a bowler that you can line up in this game. All 5 for Pune are mighty good. All 5 for Mumbai mighty good. There will be some sixes, but I don't think there'll be millions of them. So I'm quite comfortable taking under 12.5 sixes. I mean, even when they met at the Wankhede the other day, there was only 15 sixes in that game, and Dhoni came in and launched an assault to get it anywhere near that total. That's a much smaller ground than this one. So just playing the percentages, really, I think 12.5's maybe 1 or 2 too high. When they met at the Wankhede previous game in the regular season, there was only 8 sixes, wasn't there? So there's kind of enough there to suggest that this isn't going to be the big hitting final. Whether it's a high-scoring one or not, I think any hitting that is done will predominantly be without taking too much risk.
Under 12.5 sixes, then, is your second selection. There are quite a few big hitters in this game, though. Is that a bit of a risk, sort of going against these guys?
Well, there are and there isn't, isn't there? I mean, really and truly, with no Ben Stokes, the only genuine hitter of a cricket ball in this Pune side would be MS Dhoni, wouldn't he? And he's going to bat 5 or 6. And really and truly, if you take kind of Lendl Simmons out of the Mumbai Indians batting lineup, your next genuine hitter of a cricket ball, probably Kieran Pollard, he bats 5, maybe Sharma, but he hasn't completely fired on all cylinders in this. So the hitters tend to be coming later in the innings. So how much time they're going to get at the crease, whether they'll be in a position where they can hit from the start anyway. All of that's open to debate. I just think it's a high line, Steve. It's a final, It's all about winning the game, particularly for someone like Mumbai, who, if you was backing a side to hit the most sixes, you'd back Mumbai, wouldn't you, with their batting lineup? I think they're just going to want to win rather than plough everything out of the park. They've struggled to get hold of this Pune attack so far in the competition, and I don't really see why anything's going to change, I must admit.
Yeah, under 12.5 sixes. Let's talk about the top batsman markets. You've got a pick in the Rising Pune lineup here, Kev, and your man is Manoj Tiwari.
Yeah, I nearly had a pick in both of them, actually, Steve. Manoj Tiwari is finishing the season really, really well, isn't he? He took the Ben Stokes role. We wondered if Dan Christian would move up. Well, it was Tiwari who moved up on Tuesday, and he did it perfectly well, didn't he, with a half-century, top scoring half-century. Game before that he batted in, which was 2 Pune games ago, he made 60. So he's going mighty well with the bat at the moment. That's not a surprise. He's another international cricketer. Number 4 spot could be perfect for him, actually, to knock it around and let everyone else kind of try and hit their way to a big score. And that's exactly how I see them playing it out. Smith was on the attack from the start of his innings, wasn't he, the other night? Dhoni likewise. So maybe they'll say to Tiwari, you be the glue and let us all play with freedom. And if he is that, then, he can nudge and nurgle his way to sort of 50 or somewhere near that. And that could be enough to top score. I think at 7-1, bookmakers are taking a rather big risk. Okay, there's the chance that Rahane, Tripathi or Smith can go big ahead of him. But the form that he's in, I'll take my chances with Tiwari. A guy who's hit 60 and 58 in his last 2 innings. Well worth backing, I think.
Yeah, 7-1 there, Manoj Tiwari, to top score for Rising Pune Supergiant. You don't have a pick in the Mumbai Indians top batsman market, but you said you were close to someone. Who was the temptation?
Yeah, I thought about taking Hardik Pandya. Hardik Pandya, Steve. I'm not convinced that this top 5 for Mumbai are firing on all cylinders. Far from it. I thought Parthiv Patel batted well the other night, but he's a silly shot.
Hit or miss cricketer, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a silly shot waiting to happen, if you ask me. Lendl Simmons, another one who's very hit and miss, seems to be getting some serious shocking decisions in this competition. In fact, Mumbai as a whole have run into plenty of shocking decisions. If you think back to when Josh Butler was playing, his first 2 dismissals were awful decisions, and there was one the other night that Rohit Sharma hit the absolute cover off, wasn't there? So that's a worry. Raidu's only really had 1 decent innings in the competition, hasn't he? Sharma likewise. Kieran Pollard, if you get into him, all of a sudden there's a little bit of kind of openness to it. I just wonder if someone down this Mumbai order will deliver the goods. The other Pandya came in and did the business the other night, didn't he? But he was holding a groin or a hamstring or something like that at the end. I mean, obviously Mumbai will be hoping that he's just cramping up, which could, I guess, have happened in the humid conditions. But if that was a genuine injury, then maybe Hardik Pandya will be the one to play the more predominant role in this game. I don't know. It's all guesswork, all ifs and buts, and that's why ultimately I've not taken it. But I have to say that was the temptation. I'm just not convinced by this top 5 of Mumbai. Just when I thought they were going along nicely, these last 2 games, the wheels have come off again. And I don't know. It's weird. Maybe I've got it completely wrong, and maybe they're fine, and it's just a bad day at the office. But time will tell.
Well, yeah, I like the other Pandya as well, Krunal Pandya, but he does seem to be someone who is quite injury prone. Always some sort of problem with him in some form. I mean, earlier in the season, they had Nitish Rana in good form, but he's actually been dropped recently, hasn't he?
Yeah, he kind of lost his way a little bit, didn't he? And once Raidu came in for that dead rubber and made 50-odd, he was always going to stay in, really. Raidu was in at the start of the tournament, wasn't he? And got injured in the first or second game. So, it makes sense. Raidu's been a mainstay of this Mumbai Indian side for a season or 2, 3 seasons. So that kind of makes sense. But, it wouldn't be a surprise if Rana came back, I don't suppose. But it's a big game for a youngster to play in a final, I would guess.
Yeah, it would be a big ask, wouldn't it? So I think that pretty much covers it all. There's any other bets that you want to flag up, or big out shots that people want to look out for? Special novelty bets that are on offer?
No, not really, Steve. I mean, I've looked right the way through it and things. I mean, obviously, I think Pune is going to win the match. So, maybe look for an unsung hero as man of the match. Someone like Sundar again, or, even a Nadcat. He's quite capable of ripping a couple out. But really and truly, the bets that I've taken are the only ones that genuinely stood out to me.
Brilliant. Well, it's been a long ride. It's been enjoyable to doing these podcasts for the IPL with you, Kev. But it ends here. And I think we were talking about potentially doing a tournament review podcast, so maybe look out for that one this week. But we'll definitely be back for the ICC Champions Trophy in England, hosted in England in a few weeks' time. We'll be definitely back for that on a cricketing point of view. But yeah, thanks for your thoughts as ever, and best of luck with the bets in the final. And I'm sure we'll be back again talking about cricket soon on Allsportsbettingpod.
Absolutely, Steve. Just under a 2-week break before the Champions Trophy begins, and we'll do it all again. Enjoyed these podcasts, 61 of them in total matches. Hopefully, we can finish with a bang to take us into the Champions Trophy.
Absolutely. Okay, we'll take care, everyone, and goodbye.